Hello and sunny Bonani. It is 8:04 Central African time. Welcome to Suzuka. Welcome to Japan. Welcome to the 12th race of the BrakeAway Racing League season. It is Tier 2 action here. We have a 10-driver complement looking to serve up some racing and entertainment action. Thank you for choosing BrakeAway Racing League. Please remember to like the stream and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. We have some of the contenders for this Tier 2 championship represented in this here lobby. Gray skies out here in Japan. What sort of action and what sort of entertainment, what sort of drama will these drivers serve up? I'll tell you what, we will be waiting and watching with bated breath as the likes of His Royal Highness the King Rapture stake their claim possibly on a fantastic race and a possible great result. We will watch closely to see how they will fare. This is a Tier 2 championship currently led by none other than the veteran Kaboza. In the AlphaTauri seat, 170 points thus far. His Royal Highness the King Rapture snapping at Kaboza's heels. Currently second in the championship standings on 154 points. We then have Man Ray on 94 points. Azteca has 78 points, fourth in the standings. Marshy is currently fifth. And then we have Nkwali Falawe, who entered this BrakeAway Racing League stable fairly late in the season. But Falawe has been nothing short of, sensational as far as results are concerned. Already seventh in the standings despite joining the league late on. Mshengu is 8th, Kid K is 9th, and the Prince of South Africa is 10th. Spizozo is 11th in the standings, Azuri 12th, just Tendo is then 13th, and we then have Enebo in 14th place. Lot of action yet to come, and it looks like one of the Ferraris is first out on track as quickly as they possibly can be, that being the Scarlet Red Ferrari of just Tendo. Making the way out on track, followed very quickly by Mshengu on their out laps. So we'll see exactly how they will fare. Don Jobe, it's fantastic to see you in the comment section. Moteo, aka Mex, it is great to have you along for the ride in the comment section as well. Mex, of course, a veteran driver at this point who has given us some sensational action, entertainment, and racing all throughout the BrakeAway Racing League ladder. These drivers will have a total of 18 minutes to stake their claim on the quickest time in qualifying. They will have 18 minutes in total, of course. And if you're brand new to Formula One, essentially how it works is, in qualifying, you go around the track as fast as you possibly can. And the drivers are then sorted or arranged in order of their qualifying speed. So the fastest time will then, of course, line up on the timing tower on your left, higher than the rest. And the quicker you go, the higher up you will qualify, meaning the higher up the grid, or the further forward, you will be starting the main race. But we won't get too far ahead of ourselves. We will watch and see how Mshengu fares as they are among the first drivers to stake their claim. Tendo is on track, so is the AlphaTauri of Azteca. Sanale Mazansi is also out here in the McLaren, as is the veteran Manring. And Quali is on a set of medium tires, as is the Sultan of Straight Line Speeds by Zozo. What can they do come the end of the remaining 15 and a half minutes? Time will tell as Mshengu comes around the 18th and final corner. On board we go with the Alfa Romeo. Mshengu, a driver, no stranger, of course, to sensational qualifying laps, now tackling turns number 1 and 2, which just come rushing at you oh so quickly before the challenging X section in Sector 1 here in Japan. He is comfortable touching the curves ever so lightly is Mshengu as the clouds darken, perhaps an ominous sign of the changing weather possibly due to come. At this particular point, the teams, the drivers, know exactly what is to come. Perhaps the fact that we have so many out on track is an indication that we might have rain when all is said and done in qualifying sessions. 32.504 is the benchmark at the end of Sector 1. Man Ray is out of qualifying very early on. What might have happened there? It seems that Man Ray might have lost the car in the S section. Man Ray is out. Oh, just 10 drivers on track. Make that 9. Man Ray has knocked himself out, failing to pretty much set a representative lap here. Man Ray will start from the back of this 10-driver pack. This, however, is M. Shengu, who is navigating the spoon curve and is now sending it towards the end of the second sector, due to begin the third, which will be within a matter of seconds. Here it comes now. 112.538 is the time to watch very closely as the rest of this 10-driver field looks to complete proceedings around this circuit out here in Japan. It is not the easiest of circuits to navigate. A lot, of course, of fast-flowing corners as M. Shengu comes across the line. The first representative time, 129.369. M. Shengu for Team Alfa Romeo. Who is next to cross the line? I wonder. It looks like it might be M. Shengu's teammate, but as I say that, it is an invalidated lap. It shall not count. What about Tendo? Looks like also another invalidated attempt there. So we're not going to stay too close. There's an Alpha Tower that we're going to hop on board. Instead, it's going to be Estexa. Is that an invalidated time? It seems like yes. It's a string of invalidations at this particular point in time. Who is next up? Sadly, Mazansi. Looks to be good. Looks to be in the green. Looks to be approaching the final chicane here in Japan. And rides the curve quite heavily in this second part of that final chicane. It is Sadly Mazansi looking to pip M. Shengu. Can he do it? No! Close but no cigar. 130.165. Good enough only for P2 as things currently stand. It looks like Estexa came all the way back into the pits. The Prince of South Africa has just crossed the line for the third quickest time. 131.467 with just over 12 and a half minutes of this session to go. Welcome to Tier 2 Breakaway Racing League action. Welcome to Japan if you've just joined us. The Prince of South Africa, now with the fourth quickest time, courtesy of His Royal Highness, the King Rapture, who came almost, just under 5/10 within the quickest time. His Royal Highness, the King Rapture, currently second in the driver's standings, second only to the imperious, the superb Kaboza, who leads the Tier 2 standings. His Royal Highness, the King Rapture, second quickest time, 129.813. 12 minutes of the session to go in the Alpine. What more can His Royal Highness do? A lot of time still to go. It's gray skies out here in Japan. We may yet see if we're going to get some spots of rain before all is said and done. Meanwhile, let's hop on over to Man Ray's teammate. Man Ray, those of you who've been here since the start, has crashed out early on in this session. Here comes Kid K looking to complete the first sector. 32.496 for the speedy Kid K, who goes wide of the apex through that second right-hander from Gani and Gwenya. Debo Crocodile is in the comment section watching very closely to see what sort of times the Tier 2 contingent can put on before he himself straps on into the Tier 1 seat and looks to stake their claim on one of the fastest times tomorrow. This is Kid K heading down towards a spoon curve, or if you want to be technical, turns number 13 and 14. That was 13 that he just navigated. This is 14. Wide of the apex on both paces as Kid K looks to complete the second of these three sectors. What'll it be for the man in the jet black Mercedes? He is absolutely flat out 8th gear now. He will not lift off the throttle through the left-hander, and he's going to watch to make sure that he nails this final chicane perfectly as he possibly can. Kid K, who has not had the greatest of times as far as qualifying in previous races, is going to look to put something sensational here, and it's the fourth quickest time for Kid K. 130.568 is quicker than the Prince of South Africa, who now has to contend, for now, with that P5 spot. M. Shengu, still quickest from His Royal Highness the King Rapture. Sanlay Mazansi, currently third quickest, back in the pits. The Prince of South Africa is perhaps putting some final touches to that car before giving it another almighty push. Fifth quickest is the Prince of South Africa in the Williams. And Quali, as Kid K, takes a little bit of a tour on the gravel. And Quali has the sixth quickest time. 2 laps completed on a set of mediums. So perhaps we have yet to see Nkwali's best. As I say that, make that 3, make that the fourth quickest time. Nkwali nudges Kid K down to P5, and the Alfa Romeo Superstar is up now to P4. The rest of the drivers out on track. The Sultan of Straight Line Speeds by Zozo yet to set a representative time, as has just Tendo in the other Ferrari. Estexa was out on track but invalidated in the first go-round. Let's hop on board now with the AlphaTauri Superstar to see what they can do. Turns 1 and 2 navigated fairly cleanly. Now the challenging S section for Estexa bites the curve through turn number 3. A little bit on 4, but of course looking not to take too many liberties on those S's. 5th gear through this initial sector for Azteca. Lift off the throttle there. Of course, we know how treacherous this particular portion of the track can be if you're too eager. 32.1 is that Sector 1 split for the Alpha Tauri Superstar. Now, coming into the heavy braking zone, the hairpin at turn number 11. And he gives it a huge push. He's going to go through the long right-hander, that being turn number 12, before coming into spoon curve, that being turns 13 and 14. This is Azteca. Now looking to complete Sector 2 as cleanly as possible. Not quite riding the curve, has to lift off the throttle quite heavily there on the exit of turn number 14. Now pushing as hard as he possibly can to begin the third sector with a split of 112.227 through the first two. The Prince of South Africa also taking no further part in this qualifying session as Azteca nails the brakes down to third gear into the final chicane, turns 16 and 17. This, however, is 18. Azteca looking to sink their claim on the quickest time of the day. Can he do it? He can do it! It's the quickest time with a 129.281. Sensational stuff by the Alpha Tauri Superstar, taking a leaf out of Caboza's book to be the quickest driver on track. Take a bow, Azteca, the quickest time of the day with 8 minutes of this qualifying session to go. How about that? We have a new benchmark, and Mshengu will be well aware at this particular point in time. The Alpha Tauri Superstar has yet to exit the pits for another push, and I'll tell you what, Azteca is still going. He's found about more than 2/10 worth of improvement come the end of Sector 1. Well, what is this? He's ran out of battery power completely, but it looks like he's got more pace in the bag, Azteca. No. That is pretty much perhaps the end of their fuel provisions. Well, I'll tell you what, at the end of the section, we're going to watch them closely. Oh, as just Tendo retires the car as we hop on over to them, losing it seems, in, it looks like, is that the first sector? Oh man. Jackie Trapp says Azteca was just smooth with it. Absolutely smooth with it as Tendo becomes the third retirement in this qualifying session. Drama in the early stages here as His Royal Highness the King Rapture has invalidated in this second push lap. What about Satellite Mazanthi? Now, spoon curve it is, turns number 13 and 14, still looking to find improvement from that 130.165, which was the best that he could do up until this particular point. He leapfrogged and quietly did Satellite Mazanthi, but can he overtake His Royal Highness the King Rapture? He's found more than a second worth of improvement now as he sends it hurtling towards the final chicane now. It's going to look to nail it inch perfectly. Took a lot of curve there through number turn 16. That was 17. Oh, slight moment there on the exit of the penultimate corner. Satellite Mazanthi is quicker than Azteca. It's a sensational push by the McLaren Superstar. 129.038 is the new benchmark. And as the track evolves, as these drivers lay on more rubber, it is getting ever so quicker. With 6 minutes of the session to go, we have a new benchmark. Stand aside Azteca. Satellite Mazanthi is the benchmark as things currently stand. Sensational stuff by the McLaren Superstar. What about His Royal Highness the King Rapture? Gonna take another bite of the cherry. On board we go now, wide through turn number 2. How much will that compromise the Alpine Superstar? Oh, he watched the correction there on the steering wheel. Now tackling the F section. He's wide of the apex through 4. He's gonna be so compromised now through this first sector. And perhaps the way that they're rushing is an indication that the weather may get changed before all is said and done. 5.5 minutes of the qualifying session to go. How much time will the King Rapture rue at the end of the first sector? He's down by almost 8.5 of a second. His Royal Highness the King Rapture having a nightmare of a Sector 1. Now is going to need a miracle through Sectors 2 and 3. And it looks like he's going to approach a slow-moving Spizozo in the Ferrari ahead. If my sight is not failing me now, a lot of work to do for His Royal Highness the King Rapture. Now knows that there is proverbial daylight. Almost 8/10 of a second between their best time and the benchmark laid down by Satellite Mazanthi. Oh, His Royal Highness the King Rapture struggling there through spoon curve. Turns 13 and 14, not the best. He is down by a significant margin. It was 8/10, now 1.3. So we will not be seeing an improvement at this particular point from His Royal Highness the King Rapture. What about in quality? Finding just about 1/100th of a second here come the end of sector one, I believe it was, but now he's down at the end of the second sector. So what to do here in these darkening skies? 4.5 minutes of the session to go as Mshengu goes even quicker than Saturday Mazansi. Oh, it is off and popping now with less than 5 minutes of the session to go. Mshengu held the benchmark, and Aztexa snatched it from them. Then Saturday Mazansi snatched the baton from him. Mshengu says, "You shall not overcome, and I will pip the both of you." The first driver to breach into the 1 minute 28 seconds. And look at that. It's a 128.6. Daylight between Mshengu and the time set by Stanley Mazansi. Sensational stuff by the Alfa Romeo superstar here. And they have it all to do before all is said and done. Spizozo still on what looks like a practice tour on those medium tires, perhaps getting a proper feel for this circuit, perhaps the mediums and the consecutive laps on the mediums, perhaps an indication that Spizozo is just using this qualifying session to make sure that they feel well and truly comfortable come the start of the race proper. What to do for the Ferrari superstar as Mshengu takes the plaudits on their in lap. Beautifully done, sensational stuff by the Alfa Romeo superstar. Stanley Mazanti now nudged down to P2. What can Aztexa do? We saw how much improvement he found on their in lap. After setting what was the provisional pole time of that 1:29.2, well, the Sector 2 split will be some indication as the AlphaTauri superstar navigates spoon curve a little bit wide there of the apex in through 13, but managed to line it up well, a little bit better through 14, now sending it screaming down towards the chicane. I'm Chevy, the only man in the 128, says that former champion of the top tier titles. Absolutely. Here comes Aztexa towards the final chicane now. Breaking point, will that be good enough? At the end of this lap, 128.6 is the benchmark. Aztexa's looking racy. Aztexa comes across the line, and it's so close. It's a matter of just a couple of hundredths of a second, as that 128.695 is nothing to be scoffed at. But Mshengu is still clinging on to pole position. Stanley Mazansi, His Royal Highness the King Rapture, the two drivers currently on their outlaps, as and Quali takes a detour into the gravel. Not having the best of times, looking to finally begin their final push lap. In Quali, what can they do? Currently fifth quickest, yet to break that 1 minute 29 second barrier. Aztexa, that will be that, of course. He came close with no cigar there. Valiant effort, as Man Ray says, you know what, Japan is nothing to be scoffed at. It's absolutely tough. And in Quali, as Man Ray says that, in Quali, well, gets acquainted with the grass over here and really struggling here to maintain the balance of this car through the tricky S section. But he's managed to, well, get his bearings back together. So we will watch to see how the rest of their lap fares. This is His Royal Highness the King Rapture, who we saw have slight issues on a previous onboard. Now we're back to see how much risk His Royal Highness the King Rapture will take. Is a very competent driver, is the King Rapture. We don't get all the way to the top here in the BrakeAway Racing League ladder by being a slouch. King Rapture will leave nothing to chance and will absolutely throw that car around, looking to find as much advantage as he possibly can. Kid K is now out of this session as we watch and wait to see when Stanley Mazanti will finally cross that line to begin their push lap. The answer is now. Oh, on the exit of 11, His Royal Highness the King Rapture struggling again for traction. Oh man, it's really not been the greatest of the sessions, but how much can His Royal Highness the King Rapture recover now? This is the spoon curve. The exit of 14! It took too much curve to the King Rapture, and that would have cost them a precious few hundredths of a second, possibly even a tenth when all is said and done. We will see come the end of Sector 2 whether or not he is down, and the answer is, of course, he is down by 1.2 tenths. 1.2 tenths of a second. Oh, Stanley Mazanti, who was looking to challenge the top runners, has invalidated that final push lap. And Mshengu seemingly will start this race in pole position. Unless Spizozo does something really dramatic It's going to be Mshengu. Estexa will start in P2. Sadler Mizansi on that second row, P3. His Royal Highness the King Rapture in that fourth spot. In Quali, P5, right next to Kid K. The Prince of South Africa will start in 7th, Spizozo 8th, Tendo 9th, and Man Ray 10th as things currently stand. Perhaps I spoke too soon about Spizozo. He's found almost half a second from the end of that first sector. On that mediums once again. So Spizozo playing a different game here in qualifying. Let's see how he can put together these final two sectors. Oh, sprint curve did not go so smoothly there for the Sultan of Straight Line Speed by Zozo. And they're now giving it an almighty push. Through 15 flat out. Oh, he's really struggling to keep that car there. But he managed to ever so slightly. Now navigates the final corners. And we'll send it screaming towards the line. Spizozo was 8th. Spizozo crosses the line. Still 8th. Tried as best they could. Did the Sultan of Straight Line Speeds by Zozo, but 8th is the best that they can do. And Shengu with a superstar performance in pole position. Sensational 128.639. Espexa very close there to snatching that pole position back. Stanley Mazansi about 4/10, almost 4/10 off the pace. And then His Royal Highness the King Rapture, whose quali was riddled with mistakes at 1.1 seconds, and quali 5th, Kid K 6th, the Prince of South Africa 7th, Spizozo 8th, Tendo and Man Ray did not set representative times. The Prince of South Africa is given, saying, I'm just here for vibes today. Prince of South Africa has been known to be coy and modest in the comment section. And then, during the course of the race, he put something decent together. Will that be the case for the Prince of South Africa today? Tune in. The main event in Japan, up next. Gray skies in qualifying, gray skies seemingly at the start of this race. How much change can we expect? Time will tell. Thank you for choosing BrakeAway Racing League. If you have not done so, subscribe to our channel. Like the stream. And we really appreciate your presence here. Bumper cars loading, says Jackie in the comment section. All the best to all the drivers, says the former champion of the top tier Titus. Well wishes and, some of you expecting a little bit of chaos here. Man Ray was in the comment section. What can they do in the race proper? Let us pay close attention now to see how it will fare. Welcome to Suzuka. It is 3, it is 4, it is 5 lights. The only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. We are racing, and one of the Ferraris is getting very racy, looking to snatch an advantage early on. It is Mshengu from King Rapture, who has gained 2 places. Stanley Mazansi is on the inside, weaving, struggling for grip, and it looks like in quali is being pissed all over. Oh, it's carnage! It's carnage in the F section. It's Man Ray who has crashed out completely, and it looks like Kid K crashed with their teammates in that early carnage, and it's a lap 1 safety car. Man, oh man. Breathless stuff. Jackie Trap predicted carnage. Jackie Trap was spot on. His Royal Highness, the King Rapture, one of the biggest winners there. It's an early safety car here, folks. His Royal Highness, the King Rapture, now in second place, gaining 2 places by Zozo, the Sultan of Straight Line Speed, wasting no time on those hard tires, gaining 4 places, one of the biggest winners. Estexa reeling early on through that drama and carnage, losing 4 places. The Prince of South Africa stays in that P7 spot, just Tendo gaining just the 1 place, and Kid K colliding with their teammates, courtesy of that early carnage. Good start by King Raptor, says former champion of the top tier, Django. Early drama, early carnage, early wings lost as far as Kid K is concerned. And we will begin the first few of these 27 racing laps behind the safety car here in Japan. Welcome to Suzuka. Welcome to a very dramatic start of this 12th Breakaway Racing League race. We are watching the stricken Mercedes of Kid K, limping all the way towards the pits behind the Ferrari of Just Tendo, who will be thankful for that. Ghosting does not work when people crash, says Man Ray in the comment section, perhaps giving an indication that Man Ray might have been a victim of, cars just having issues ahead of him. This is Kid K serving that 5-second time penalty for that collision with their teammates before having that wing change. Russell and Hamilton interview needed, says Jackie Trap in the comment section. Kid K, car number 5, now fits a brand spanking wing. And we've seen the position changes. Let's get a sense of the tire strategy. Zozo playing the long game, the only driver to start this race on a set of hard compound tires. Kid K, the only casualty needing a pit stop and an early wing change early on. M. Sengu still in the lead of this race, going aggressive as far as tire choice was concerned, starting this race on a set of softs. So looking to maintain their advantage as early as they possibly can. Soft tires for M. Sengu, who has been known in the past to take, alternate tire strategies, is putting it lightly. M. Sengu has been known to go surprisingly long on an aging compound of tire. And that is the possible race strategies. One stop between laps 11 and 13. Titus commiserating with Man Ray over there. It is Shengu who still leads, as was the case, of course, after qualifying. His Royal Highness the King Rapture in that second spot. San Libazanti in P3 now, courtesy of Estexa, tumbling down the order. Zozo, man oh man, was down to P8, now 4th. Watch out, San Libazanti. The specter of Zozo is not to be trifled with in race trim. And Quali, 5th. Estexa got a recovery drive now from P6. Had a great day in qualifying. And the clouds, or the sun, peeking out from behind the clouds here since the start of this race. Estexa in 6th. The Prince of South Africa did not change position. Started 7th, still 7th. Just Tendo is now 8th, and Kid K is 9th. The pride, the hope of Team Mercedes is Kid K. Teammate taken out. It is all on his shoulders. 9 drivers active. Well, it's a full house of points. All you need to do is just bring that car home. Everybody's coming away with some points here. Zozo with those hards, making so many overtakes, as says Jackie in the comment section. Good on Zozo to avoid the early carnage, despite being on, theoretically, the slowest compound of tire. Hard tires, of course, if you are new to Formula One. Soft tires mean exactly that. They are the softest rubber. They do have the most grip, but of course coming at a cost of quicker degradation, so they do lose grip quicker than the mediums, which are the tires in the obviously slightly harder than the softs, and then you have the hard tires, which are the hardest compound at this particular track. We're now in lap 3. We barely got through sector 1 when the safety car was called out. So we do hope now that Kid K has caught up that this will be the safety car coming all the way back into the pits. This is the vantage point from the Sultan of Straight Line Speeds by Zozo. As you can see, that yellow bar in the bottom of the steering wheel, indication of a full battery remaining for Zozo. As they weave to the left and to the right, so they're really just trying to get some temperature into those tires. Zozo will be at risk of being overtaken. Those hard tires, of course, relative to the softs and the mediums, that do take a little while longer to get up to optimum temperature. So Zozo revving that car, trying to get a little bit of a wheel spin, is their attempt to make sure that he works up those tires to optimum temperature. Stanley Mazzanti will want to get much closer to His Royal Highness the King Raptor now, as this will be the lap where the safety car returns into the pit lane. Now, as the safety car comes in, M. Shengu, the leader, will dictate the pace and will effectively decide when to go full throttle and when to get racing again. And as I say that, it looks like M. Shengu has opted to send it now on the exit of the final chicane. His Royal Highness the King Raptor tucks right behind M. Shengu, right into the slipstream. Of course, M. Shengu is racing in clear air. M. Shengu's car punches a hole in the air, so to speak, aerodynamically speaking, and King Raptor in the slipstream is taking advantage of the hole in the air that Alfa Romeo is punching. Through the S's they come now, and King Raptor is managing to stay within a touch, but it looks like M. Shengu is very comfortable on the exit of the S's, about almost 0.8 of a second there, but His Royal Highness the King Raptor manages to breach that gap. The top three have extended their gap to the P4 running Spizozo. That gap is now 1.8 of 1.7 seconds of a... Whoa, well, almost 2 seconds. I beg your pardon, my brain is freezing over there. And Spizozo struggling to keep up with the top three on those hard tires, of course. And as he does so, Spizozo himself will come under pressure from Nquali. This, however, is Stanley Mazzanti, who himself is slipping further and further away from His Royal Highness the King Raptor, who now comes through Spoon Curve, will stay on board with them. It looks like Just Tendo has had an issue there on the exit of turn number 11, the hairpin. Looks like Just Tendo has come to a complete standstill, bringing out the yellow flag there at turn number 11. We're going to stay on board here with His Royal Highness the King Raptor, who is struggling to stay in touch with M. Shengu, who now has a 1.2 second gap, so M. Shengu's straight line speed is nothing to be scoffed at here, folks. He absolutely galloped way ahead of His Royal Highness the King Raptor now on that straight line, and it's the quickest time that we've seen thus far. And His Royal Highness the King Raptor will look to try and catch up as best as he possibly can. Nquali is on the attack versus the Sultan of Straight Line Speed, Spizozo, whose hard tires at this particular point in time may yet be in decent nick, in good temperature. Oh, Spizozo takes too much of the curve there as he exited turn number 2, and as they begin the S's, Nquali is nose to tail here at the back of the Ferrari. 5 laps on him, a total 27. Oh, Nquali himself comes unstuck, takes too much curve there through the S's, and that'll bring his Stexa into the reckoning. On board we go with the AlphaTauri superstar, who was so close to the front runners at the end of qualifying, but now finds himself in P6 on a recovery drive. Oh, it takes too much curve there. As the exits now, they are now inching closer and closer to the hairpin, where Just Tendo had that huge moment bringing out the yellow flag. Thankfully, no second safety car. Oh, and Nquali wide of the apex there on the exit of turn of 11, the hairpin. As Stexa will feel that he possibly has something to do here as far as gaining positions is concerned. They're extending and screaming down the hill towards Spoon Curve. Turns number 13 and 14 coming up. Which line will Stexa take as Nquali looks to make that car as wide as possible through turns 13 and 14? As Stexa is within 4/10 of a second and is using up a little bit of his battery power, trying to stay in touch with the rear wing of that Alfa Romeo of Nquali. Now flat out through turn number 15 they go, and they will hit the brakes into turns 16 and 17. The chicane, of course, and Stexa is also close there, under braking, gaining even more ground now there as that gap hovers at about half a second now as Nquali manages to squirm away on the exit of that final chicane. Meanwhile, behind them, the Prince of South Africa trying to keep Kid K at bay. The gap between those two, about 0.8 of a second, will stay with this action. It's a three-way battle between Stexa, Nquali, and Spizozo, ostensibly for that P4 spot. On board, back on board we go. Oh, it looks like Nquali is on the verge of possibly overtaking the Ferrari ahead of him. Nquali looking to make light work of Spizozo. Nquali feeling the pressure from the AlphaTauri that we're on board with. Nquali trying to find margin, trying to find the tiny gap to squeeze through. Nquali goes for it. Nquali, did they make a little bit of contact? They almost did, but Nquali squeezes through. And Spizozo is now sandwiched between the AlphaTauri and the Alfa Romeo, which has now gone up to P4, gaining those places in the space of a couple of corners. Now with Stexa into the hairpin. Will Spizozo get the line wrong? No, he tries, goes a little bit wide of the apex, but Stexa still feels he's well within touching distance here in the 6th lap of a total 27. These three drivers in the midfield giving us some sensational entertainment, lauded in the comment section by Jackie Trapp, who says nice. Nice stuff, nice racing action. Oh, as I say that, Espexa makes an unforced error, goes spinning off the track, and the Prince of South Africa is through, as is Kid K. And Espexa, with an unforced error there through Spoon Curve, will now have to pick up the paces from P8. Oh, it's a sensationally heartbreaking day for the Alpha Tauri superstar, who started off the day so well in qualifying, and now finds himself having to claw back all the way down in P8. Back on board with Spizozo we go, who will be breathing a huge sigh of relief. Was under pressure there from Espexa, but that unforced error forcing the Alpha Tauri out of the reckoning. 20 laps of racing still to go. It's Spizozo hanging on to P5. And on the hard tires, that he started with, now he makes an unforced error, finds his way into the grass, giving the Prince of South Africa all the encouragement to get closer and closer. Spizozo loses ground within quali. Spizozo, the Sultan of straight line speed, was within DRS of Nkwali, but that huge mistake into the grass, giving the Prince of South Africa all the hope that they would need. Now in P6, taking advantage of unforced errors ahead of them. Prince of South Africa declared in the comment section that I'm just here for the vibes. And I'll tell you what, he's inching closer and closer up towards the upper midfield of this field. Meanwhile, Kid K, the pride and the hope of Mercedes in this race, now goes on the exit of turn number 11, inching closer and closer to the back of the Prince of South Africa. Kid K biding their time as far as battery power use is concerned. Look at that yellow bar in the bottom of the steering wheel. Kid K has ample battery power remaining, and on the same curb, which really undid Espexa, Kid K manages to stay within half a second of the Prince of South Africa and getting closer and closer. Meanwhile, at the sharp end, at the business end of this grid, Sanley Mazansi also within half a second of P2 running King Rapture. And what a job it's been by Mshengu on those soft tires, 7 laps old, 4 seconds ahead of the chasing pack. Sanley Mazansi looking racy. Oh, King Rapture makes a huge mistake, and Sanley Mazansi will not need a second invitation to snatch P2 from His Royal Highness the King Rapture, whose day has been littered with mistakes in qualifying, and now in the race, under pressure from Sanley Mazansi. He makes, acquaintance with the grass, and Sanley Mazansi not needing a second bite at the cherry to snatch P2 from His Royal Highness the King Rapture. There's a yellow flag on another part of the track. Is it the Prince of South Africa versus Espexa? It may yet be Espexa overcoming the Prince of South Africa, who might have gone off track to gift that P7 spot back to the Alpha Tauri driver. Mistakes, unforced errors all over the pack, all throughout this grid, as Spizozo is now within touching distance of P4. And Quali, with 7-up-old medium tires, is now feeling the heat, feeling the pressure from the red-hot Scarlet Red Ferrari in the hands of the Sultan of Straight Line Speed, Spizozo. Lap number 8. Here comes Spoon Curve. Here comes Nkwali, looking to keep it inch perfect now. This is 14. Spizozo not quite making contact with the apex of that particular corner. Of course, the lateral force is dragging this Ferrari down towards the right-hand side on the exit of 14. Here they come now into the flat-out corner of turn 15 before they slam the brakes into number 16. Will Spizozo inch closer and closer to the back of the Alfa Romeo into 16 and 17? The answer is yes, but on the exit loses a little bit of ground again, and then Quali stretches the legs of the Alfa Romeo further and further out of the clutches of Spizozo. Meanwhile, His Royal Highness the King Rapture has made sure that Sanley Mazansi does not get too comfortable in that P2 spot. The gap there between these two, just about 7/10 of a second through the S as they go. Sanley Mazansi feeling the heat, keeping it so steady. Another yellow flag. It looks like, Espexa might have made another huge mistake there in Sector 1 at the beginning of the S section on the exit of turn number 2 on the track map. The yellow flag was Espexa, who's lost that position to the Prince of South Africa. So those two exchanging positions courtesy of some unforced errors there. Espexa, whose day started so brightly, now not quite having such a great time here. And Mshengu still in firm control, in firm command of this race. Started in pole position to the Alfa Romeo driver, now having a lonely race out in front, just the way that he would want it. 4.7 seconds ahead of the chasing pack. His Royal Highness the King Rapture on the exit of Spoon, and now rushing towards this flat-out turn 15 and into the chicane of 16 and 17 is King Rapture going to look to nail it under braking and apply all of the pressure to Sanley Mazanti, who seems unshaken on the exit of turn number 18. Sanley Mazanti, unbowed, unbent, unbroken, as is the motto of Harsh Martel in the Game of Thrones. Oh, Sanley Mazanti, as I say that, wide through one, nails it closer to the apex into two, and now tackles the F section, knowing that he has to be inch perfect not to give the tiniest of hope to His Royal Highness the King Rapture. Over here, Sanley Mazanti biding their time. Highly experienced driver is the McLaren Superstar. Some of you might know him from Tier 2 of years gone by. Sanley Mazanti, hailing from the town of Ermelo in Mpumalanga in South Africa's eastern regions, is Sanley Mazanti. Oh, as I say that, His Royal Highness the King Rapture almost went too far, to the east, so to speak, of the track limits. And now have to catch up once again. But Sanley Mazanti will be very happy that that gap is hovering at about a second or more. 68% with the battery power remaining for His Royal Highness the King Rapture, while Sanley Mazanti, using that battery power, trying to stay out of the clutches of the Alpine behind, down to about 49% at this particular point in time. Chess game, a game of wits here. A game to see who will blink first, who will make an error to surrender that position. Meanwhile, Esclexa had already come into the pits, exchanging those mediums for the hards, which he will presumably take all the way towards the end of the race. Esclexa all the way down in P8, as His Royal Highness the King Rapture goes on the attack again versus Sanley Mazanti. What a job Mshengo is doing out in front, as King Rapture, driving through gritted teeth, makes sure he does not lose an inch to Sanley Mazanti through the S's. The Prince of South Africa, the latest driver to come into the pits, will change those soft tires now. The Prince of South Africa, as these two now race down towards the hairpin of turn number 11. We'll get a sense. King Rapture did not quite get that hairpin right. Prince of South Africa also onto the hards. When will Mshengu, Sanley Mazanti, and His Royal Highness the King Rapture finally relent and come into the pits? There was another yellow flag on another part of the track. I do wonder if that was Espexa, perhaps, as we watch the race-leading Mshengu. Oh, it's a virtual safety car. But why is the question? Golden opportunity for the leaders to finally come into the track now. You dare not get penalized for speeding under the VSC. We've seen those rookie errors all throughout the BrakeAway Racing League stable. He finally comes into the pits, does Mshengu. Sanley Mazanti carries on those mediums. Interesting. His Royal Highness the King Rapture is the driver who brought out the VSC, losing the wing, losing ground to Sanley Mazanti. And now coming into the pits for a wing change and tire change at the beginning of the 12th lap, now led by Sanley Mazanti under virtual safety car. Will Sanley come to rue that decision? Should he have come into the pits? What would you have done? Kid K now onto a set of mediums at this point in time. A lot of racing still to go. Kid K, those mediums come the end of the race that might just be screaming. It's still a virtual safety car here, folks. So they have to, racing is suspended, meaning you cannot overtake. They slow down to about 40% of regular race pace, as the race control mandates that they do not go racing. But now virtual safety car has ended halfway through the 12th lap, now led by Sanley Mazanti. 11-lap-old medium tires. Who do you have your money on here, folks? A lot of racing still to go. We're approaching the halfway mark of this race. I want to hear your thoughts on how you expect this race to go. Now, Mshengu is 20 seconds behind the race leader. Make that 19 and trending downwards, possibly, if he can keep it together. Sanley Mazanti doing a decent job. And At this particular point, he wants as large a tire advantage as he could possibly muster around this circuit in Japan, where he has looked nothing short of super, super comfortable. Stanley Mazzanti in the lead of this race. Spizozo is in second place, is being hunted down by none other than the former race leader, M. Shengu, who's having a stellar day here in Japan. Can see that scarlet red Ferrari inching closer and closely. Sadly, lost out on an opportunity, says Man Ray. He could have gone for the hards, but now has to counter the VSE time saving executed by M. Shengu. Spot on is Man Ray, noting that Stanley Mazzanti had a golden opportunity to take advantage of the less time that you would lose theoretically under the virtual safety car. Now we'll have to contend with that. M. Shengu, still the fastest driver on track as far as the quickest lap that we've seen with that 31.498. Now has a fresh set of hard tires and a fuel load which is diminishing with every lap. Perhaps we will see another lap record set by M. Shengu in this race. He's within a second, is M. Shengu, of the Sultan of Straight Line Speed, that being Spizozo. And under braking, he not quite getting as close as he would have wanted, but on the exit of the final corner, perhaps I spoke too soon, uses that battery, but might not be close enough to effect an overtake. Now turns 1 and 2. Spizozo a little bit wide on the apex of 1. Oh, touches a little bit of the grass. Here comes M. Shengu now. Almost making contact, but easing off the throttle there, allowing the Ferrari to slip out of his clutches. And M. Shengu will feel that Spizozo is wasting his time. Remember, M. Shengu is just really trying to bridge that gap, making sure as much as he possibly can that Stanley Mazzanti does not does not lose too much. Oh, Just Tendo has crashed out. Just Tendo in the 14th lap of the race brings out the safety car, and it's salvation possibly for Stanley Mazzanti. Oh, well. Tindo says everybody must join momentum, everybody in the league. I would not disagree with that. As things currently stand, Stanley Mazzanti in the lead of this race, with Just Tendo having crashed out of the race, becoming the second casualty. Stanley Mazzanti has a golden opportunity to take advantage of the time that he would save, considering that the rest of the grid is moving slowly, and he will have fresher tires, 2 almost 3 lap fresher tires, when he exits the pits. Now, Stanley Mazzanti grinning from ear to ear, fits those hards, as Spizozo has also yet to come into the pits. But it looks like Stanley Mazzanti will still be in control and command of the race as Spizozo finally comes into the pits. M. Shengu is pushing as hard as he possibly can. Oh! He had to really slam the brakes, M. Shengu, lest he be penalized there. Oh no, His Royal Highness the King Rapture, they dare go from bad to worse. 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, why not soft, asks Jackie. With a couple of laps behind the safety car, Jackie would have chosen soft tires. Stanley Mazzanti playing it ultra conservative on 3-lap fresher hard tires relative to M. Shengu. And it's an Alfa Romeo 2-3 because in quali, after all of that drama and the pit stops, has found their way up to the podium places. Sigle Mkwanazi, a.k.a. Nkwali, now up to P3. Kid K, what a day for them, has looked absolutely comfortable on this circuit. Perhaps this is one of Kid K's favorites, who knows? Now within touching distance of a possible podium finish. What'll it be for Kid K, the hope of Mercedes now in that jet black W14? Spizozo is now in P5 on a brand spanking fresh set of mediums. and everybody will be riding oh so close to one another. Mshengu's tires are ready for action. Sadly, needs to still get them ready. Easy overtake for Mshengu, so reckons Jackie Trap. Do you agree? His Royal Highness the King Rapture also a fresh set of mediums, but that time penalty to contend with. A lot can still happen. We saw the drama of the first lap. We hope for a clean race restart here, and we hope no more safety cars between now and the 27th and final lap. I'll tell you what, with everybody bouncing up once again, it gives us a golden opportunity to see how they will fare. What would you do in Espex's position? He's got 5-lap-old hards. Got nothing to lose. Would you, as Espexa, at the back of this now 8-driver field, come in for a fresher set? Would you go for the soft, as Jackie would suggest? Or would you even put on a set of lightly used mediums? What would you do in Espex's position? Of course, at this particular point, he's just trying to catch up to the back of the pack. And we should have at least one more lap behind the safety car. So we do hope that at the start of lap 17 will be when we get racing. Here comes His Royal Highness the King Rapture. Serves their 5-second time penalty. Opting just to do so now. Perhaps trust their ability to overtake everybody. He puts back that used set of hards. Currently 3 laps old. So come the end of the safety car, it might be about 5 or so lap old hard tires. Sanlai Mazanti has looked very, very good here. Was unflustered under a lot of pressure from the like of His Royal Highness the King Rapture earlier on. Snatched the lead of the race when Mshengu came into the pits. And now we'll have to contend with that very driver. In fact, Team Alfa Romeo. In P2 and 3, what a day it is for them. I would spam that ERS as Jackie Trap in the comment section. Just trying to get out of the clutches of the chasing pack. Fresh set of hards for Sanlai Mazanti. Has a tire advantage relative to the chasing pair of Alfa Romeos. Kid K, P4, touching distance at the podium. What a result that would be for Kid K, the pride and joy of Mercedes. Spizozo, the Sultan of straight line speed on those brand new mediums. Do not discount Spizozo at the restart. Good move by Rapture, says Manray, to take that time penalty on the chin. And then fight their way perhaps through what he possibly sees as possible carnage early on. Remember, at the start of this race, King Rapture made light work of the field and snatched 4 places at the start of the race. So perhaps King Rapture backing themselves to make do on another series of very quick overtakes. Espexa will not make it past P6. He is struggling, says Manray in the comment section. Looked very good in qualifying to the Espexa, but work to do now from the vantage point of P7. Sanlai Mazanti will dictate the pace of this 8-driver field now as the safety car comes into the pits. Sanlai Mazanti will be the one to decide. Oh, these cars in the back almost crashing. And they may yet have done so. Oh, yes, they did. Espexa collided with the Prince of South Africa. As Sanlai Mazanti now sends it. Catching Mshengu off guard, did he? He's almost a second ahead. Spamming that ERS as Jackie Trap predicted. And now Espexa having to serve that 5-second time penalty coming into the pits. This, however, is the vantage point of P3 in quality. Oh! Goes, makes a huge mistake. Will he get overtaken? No! It looks like Kid K was not close enough to take advantage of Inquality's mistake there through the beginning part of the S section. Well, Sanlai Mazanti within just 10 laps of what would be a sensational race win in quality, under pressure from this man, Kid K, in the jet black W13. Mercedes is Kid K. What did I say? Manray saying I called it. That the AlphaTauri is struggling out here today. Well, he served that time penalty, and now Espexa is out 35 seconds behind the pack. Espexa at this point will hope for another safety car before all is said and done. I'll tell you what, it is not going to come lightly, as Stanley Mazzanti has managed to gallop ahead by 1.2 seconds. Meanwhile, Kid K looking very comfortable there through Spoon Curve, and Kid K himself is being hunted by none other than Spizozo, who we're going to hop on board with to see exactly how this three-way battle for the third and final podium spot will pan out. Flat out through 15 is Spizozo and Inquali and Kid K, but who will be braver on the brakes to take advantage now through the final chicane? Spizozo so close to the back of Kid K, who himself is applying all of the pressure there to the Alfa Romeo of Inquali. In formation they are, as Kid K takes advantage of the slipstream supplied by Inquali. Man, oh man, so little racing still to go. So much potential drama could be served up. Into the S as they go. Inquali leading Kid K, leading Spizozo. The battle for P3, the third and final podium spot, rages ever so smoothly as Mshengu is also applying the pressure on San Limazanti. Will catch up with the battle for the race lead in a second or two. Kid K took a lot of the curb there, but managed to keep it on track, as did Spizozo. Nobody blinking at this particular point in time. Kid K's helmet weaving to the left and to the right, looking through those mirrors, trying to keep that Ferrari at bay, and Quali doing exactly that. It's nose-to-tail action here from P3 down to P5, and those three, of course, have put daylight between themselves and King Rapture, who is all the way down in P6, 13 seconds off the pace. Here comes Spizozo now. They're going to take advantage possibly of Kid K, whose line might not have gone as smoothly as you would have liked. Spizozo within 0.3 of a second, flat out now, approaching turn number 15, and through the braking zone, 16 and 17, the final chicane. Who will nail the braking point? Kid K could cause a safety car, so says Jackie Trap, not trusting Kid K at all. Is Jackie over there, riding the curb, all three of them there, and nobody is blinking now as they cross the line to begin the 19th of a total 27 laps. Man is looking shaky, so says Jackie Trap in the comments section. This is the vantage point to Spizozo, the Sultan of straight line speed, who is not too shabby in the traction zones of this oh-so-technical Suzuka International Racecourse. He's almost making contact with the back of Kid K here. It's nose-to-tail stuff as the Mercedes tries to keep Spizozo at bay. He's applying all of the pressure in Spizozo through the S section, and now Kid K's attention turned from Inquali all the way into his rear mirrors, trying to make sure that he is not overcome, that he is not overtaken by Spizozo, who rides the curve. When he overtakes Kid K, who goes off the track. Kid K, will he feel that he was forced off the track? Spizozo will not care. Spizozo is in touching distance of a podium place, and Kid K makes acquaintance with the grass, and now is almost 3 seconds behind this pair of drivers who are battling it out for the podium. It's sensational action out here at Suzuka. Spizozo within a second of Inquali. Absolutely dramatic stuff. Kid K perhaps might feel hard done by there, but I'll tell you what, he's going to have to now claw his way back from 3.2 seconds behind the sensationally quick Spizozo out here in Japan. Lap 19, soon to be 20 of a total 27. Stanley Mazzanti leads out here in Japan, and Spizozo tries to apply the pressure on Inquali, who could make it a sensational double podium for Alfa Romeo. As I say that, Spizozo makes a huge error on the exit of the chicane, and now is going to thank his lucky stars that he's still within DRS, still within half a second of Inquali over here. And what a sensational race restart after this most recent safety car we have had over here. Manra, your boys in P6, says Jackie in the comments. Spizozo now rides the curb and loses a crucial amount of tenths to Inquali, who is holding their nerve in that P3 spot, even though he has fallen to about 4.5 seconds behind their teammate, who is in that P2 spot. Spizozo very, very comfortable now, and almost going for it, almost making contact with the back of the Alfa Romeo. And now Spizozo is nose to tail here as they send it hurtling down the hill towards the hairpin turn of turn number 11. Who will get the exit inch perfect? Spizozo was tighter to the apex there. Spizozo still within 0.3 of a second. Spizozo still with so much battery power remaining as Inquali weaves to the left and to the right, trying to shake the Ferrari off their rear. And here comes Spizozo now through Spoon Curve. Inquali a little bit wide. Inquali's rear is twitching. Spizozo looks sturdy. Spizozo looks speedy now as he applies all the pressure in towards the kink of turn number 15. But will Spizozo go for it through the the flat out gypsy wheel on the inside. Spozozo goes side by side, and flat out it's a sensational overtake. But Inquali's not going down without a fight. It's Wednesday action night. It's sensational stuff by these two competitors. And now through the final chicane, Inquali, it's his turn now to make sure that he stays on the coattails of Spozozo, who is on for a sensational podium, having started so far down the order. And it looks like Inquali, his battery power is significantly lower than that of Spozozo, who has been nothing short of imperious. Staying in station. No, Inquali makes acquaintance with the grass and loses all that crucial ground. He might yet slip out of DRS when all is said and done. Racing etiquette was nice there, says Jackie Trap in the comment section. There was a yellow flag. There's a caution in Sector 2. It looks like a slow-moving Prince of South Africa had an issue, but now that yellow flag has been cleared, and Inquali has now fallen 1.6 seconds behind after putting on the most valiant effort, the most stout of defenses, while under extreme pressure from Spozozo. And at this particular point, it looks like Kid K may yet come into the reckoning, if not for the podium, then at least for P4. Kid K, after that dramatic moment, now 1.8 seconds behind Inquali, after a breathless couple of laps in the upper midfield here. Kid K, 1.8 seconds behind. Espexa had a nightmare of a day as far as the actual race is concerned, languishing in P6. To get a sense of just how far off the pace he is, he's 46 seconds behind the leader of the race. His Royal Highness the King Rapture would have been hoping, of course, being such a protagonist, a consistent protagonist for race wins, his Royal Highness the King Rapture would have been hoping for a lot more than P7. And as I say that, made acquaintance almost with the wall there. His Royal Highness the King Rapture having a nightmare of a day by his lofty standards. The Prince of South Africa also having a series of moments which brought out the yellow flag a couple of times. 1 minute, 6 seconds behind the leader of this race. But everybody at this particular point in time just needs to bring the cars home. No need to take unnecessary risks. All they need to do is just bring those cars home. Stanley Mazzanti is on track for a sensational result here. Just 5 laps still to go. He has managed to keep everybody at bay since the restart. That margin now 4 seconds. That's Stanley Mazzanti has managed to eke out, muscling Mshengu down to P2. What a day, what a performance, it must be said, by Mshengu. Perhaps unlucky with that second safety car, which gave Stanley Mazzanti a bit of a reprieve. Of course, Stanley Mazzanti opted not to pit under the virtual safety car before this most recent incident necessitated a full safety car. 4.2 seconds now the gap between Mshengu and the race-leading Stanley Mazzanti. Still, fastest lap that we've seen thus far. That's an extra championship point for Mshengu. 131.498. Good looking for Mshengu. Spozozo in the podium places. What a race they have had. The Sultan of straight line speed. Looking very, very comfortable on a track which is, of course, so much more than that. Looks like His Royal Highness the King Rapture may have brought on a slight yellow flag on the exit of Spoon Curve, but it has since been cleared. Not the best of days for His Royal Highness. Kid K versus Inquali. Something to watch very, very closely. The two drivers are running closest to one another as these laps trickle down towards the conclusion of this showcase out here in Japan. A race which started out under cloudy skies, but things really cleared up. And as the sun peeked out from behind the clouds, so too did the drama and the sensational racing that we saw, particularly in the midfield. What a great day of BrakeAway League racing it has been. Now, just a matter of a very, very few amount of laps remaining before the winner of this race is crowned. But BrakeAway being BrakeAway, anything can happen. We've seen unforced errors in the earlier part of this race. Who knows if Sanley Mazzanti may yet have a lapse of concentration, but it would take, something special now for Mshengu to be able to snatch that away from him. But anything can happen, folks. Esclexa P6 after a beautiful qualifying. The race itself was a nightmare, but perhaps this is a sign of things to come for the rest of this season, which was going to end today as far as Q2 action is concerned. But of course, Breakaway Racing League season has been extended to include even more races. So we will have more and more action for you in the coming weeks. Tomorrow, 7:30 Central African time, or 8 p.m., depending on attendance. Tier 1 action, top tier of the Breakaway Racing League, will be underway. Estexa, 31 seconds behind Kid K. Work to do for them. His Royal Highness the King Rapture, the only driver with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Day going from bad to worse for the speedy King Rapture. Prince of South Africa is in that 8th and final spot. Oh, as I say that, gets acquainted with the grass once again, bringing out the yellow flag. But he manages to catch that car. And thankfully for the Prince of South Africa, did not get, too familiar with the wall. On board we are with Kid K, the pride, the hope of Mercedes. As far as the rest of today is concerned, all the hopes of the Silver Arrows rest in the hands of Kid K, who now comes through turns number 1 and 2, watching in quali very, very closely. Now through the S's, who has more confidence at this particular point in time? Kid K's 13-lap old mediums or the hard tires in the hands of Inquali? Well, it looks like Spizozo might have made a huge mistake, because this pair of Kid K and Quali are now within touching distance of the Scarlet Red Ferrari. Oh, Kid K goes into the gravel on the same corner where he was overcome all those laps ago by Spizozo. But look at that. And Quali within 1.3 seconds of the Ferrari. Kid K within the DRS of the Alfa Romeo. We're going to have a grandstand finish, at least for the third and final podium spot. Kid K dare not make another mistake. It is all in his hands. And look at that yellow bar on the bottom of Kid K's steering wheel. So much battery power remaining. 92% for Kid K, who has been biding his time up until this particular point. Oh, the Prince of South Africa! The Prince of South Africa is out in the 25th lap. The Prince of South Africa has lost it in Sector 1. And of course, it's too late for a full safety car to come out. Oh, I'll tell you what, these guys would have been hoping for it, especially Kid K with so much battery power remaining. Because Inquali has 33% versus Kid K, who's hovering at the 80%. Look at Spizozo, 13%. Is Kid K aware? Have Kid K's engineers told him how much advantage of battery power he has? Well, 84% for Kid K versus 13 Spizozo. Oh no, Kid K! He makes an unforced error. That's 3-second time penalty. He has no choice now but to overtake and gallop ahead of Inquali at the very least. He will hope to pressure both Inquali and Spizozo into an equal amount of time penalties. But at this particular point, it is hope against hope. He's going to need a miracle, Kid K. Oh, man, it could have been something sensational. And as King Rapture comes into the pits now, for soft tires, we can only assume that that is for the fastest lap. And that extra point at this particular point in time, Kid K. Kid K. Oh, yeah. He had it so close. It was all in his hands as the race leading Sanley Mazzanti has begun the 27th and final lap of this race. Oh, and Quali, the rear of that Alfa Romeo, was not looking so sturdy there on the exit of the final chicane. And that would have given Kid K all the hope that he would have loved and needed. He can see that red light flashing on the back of the Alfa Romeo. Can Kid K pull off a miracle at the very least for P4? If he can pressure in Crowley into a mistake, or if he can somehow overtake within the coming two sectors and build that huge buffer, it's not looking likely considering in Crowley's pace thus far. And Crowley himself, of course, will have been watching Spizozo trying to claw into the clutches of the Ferrari. Oh man, it would have been a sensational result, but at this particular point in time, looking very, very unlikely. The winding also close are the trio of Spizozo and Quali and Kid K, but it looks like Spizozo, the Sultan of Straight Line Speed, may just have done it. But as we are about to go back and catch up with them, we will now have a moment of applause, a moment for the ovation for Sanale Mazanti, who drove a masterclass of a race, a controlled performance to come across the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix on the 27th and final lap, 11 and a half seconds ahead of M. Shengu, who tried the best they could. Pole position could not be converted into a race win, but P2 is still sensational stuff from them Shengu. Spizozo wins, takes the third and final podium spot in quali fourth, and Kid K will have to contend with P5 when all is said and done. As Pexa had a topsy-turvy day, sensational quali, dramatic race, languishing in the lower midfield for large portions of this race, now sending it towards the final chicane of this here track, the 27th final lap of this race. Espexa will come towards the line to cross in P6. And it looks like His Royal Highness the King Rapture is looking for the fastest lap of this race. He has found 9/10 of a second from their personal best, so it may yet still be on. Make that more than a second come the end of Sector 2. So we may yet snatch the fastest lap from M. Shengu at the death. His Royal Highness the King Rapture will finish in 7th. Will it be the fastest lap of the race? Yes, it will. His Royal Highness the King Rapture comes across the line, the 7th driver, the final driver to cross the line. And what a race that was. I want to hear, who is your driver of the day? The game says it's the Sultan of Straight Line Speeds by Zozo. Who is it in your view? Let us know in the comment section. Please like the stream. There were about 11 or 12 of you, but only 3 likes on the stream. So please like the stream before the broadcast is over. There we have it. Sanlay Mazansi, the veteran of the second tier, winning the race. Sanlay driver of the day, says Jackie. Spizozo deserves driver of the day, says Titus. Danko Sanlay says Loisy in the comment section. Let me know if you agree with them. What a sensationally entertaining race, particularly that battle for the podium places. There it is, folks. King Rapture, fastest lap of the race. Sadler Mazanti started in 3rd, wins the race here in Japan. Spizozo from P8 to P3. Sensationally driven stuff. Huge tussles between the likes of Spizozo and Quali and Kid K. Kid K himself started at 6th, but finishes in P5. As Pexa, of course, was flying high in qualifying, but could not convert that into a decent race result, courtesy of some early drama in lap number 1. King Rapture was great early on, but had to contend with P7. The Prince of South Africa, Tendo, and Manri crashed out in this race, and that is your field, folks. What a sensationally entertaining race that Shangu and Spizozo will join us in the commentary box. The second safety car helped Sanley, but was a good risk for him not to put after the first safety car. It ended up working out 100%. Jackie Trap. San Lebazanti's gamble under the virtual safety car to stay out ended up working out perfectly for them. So beautifully played by San Lebazanti. That is 25 points, a race win in race number 12. And we'll take all that impetus towards next week's showcase. San Lebazanti wins in Japan. Well, folks, here we are, just trying to see if we can get some of these drivers in the commentary box. We have yet to be joined by either of Sanale, Spizozo, or Mshengu. Well, folks, it seems like that might just be that. So that will probably conclude our broadcast. Grateful for all of you always joining BrakeAway Racing League action. Thank you so much for being a part of the BrakeAway Racing League family. And we will see you again for 2-1 action tomorrow night, right here on this channel. Thank you, everybody, and good night. As Sunlight defends their case, saying, I wouldn't just make you DNF. How many times have you cost me my race? And I did not say anything. Esklexa in fighting mood in the comment section, defending, of course, themselves after the early carnage of lap number 1. But we do commiserate with those drivers who could not finish the race. Congratulations to everybody who did, more particularly to the podium finishers. Thank you, everybody, and